Here are 10 things cyclists should know, but they probably don't. Number 1, riding your bike at a high intensity all the time, as much as possible, is going to make you bike less. One of the joys of cycling is being able to push yourself, finding a hill, and just trying to go up that hill as fast as possible. And I know that a couple of years ago, I fell into this trap of just trying to beat my PR on every ride up the same hill. And what happened was, I started feeling really old because in the afternoon I would feel fatigue, I would get a headache, my body would hurt. What I didn't realize was that I was just getting chronically tired. So once I became more deliberate on my hard days and easy days, riding more became a lot easier. What I mean by more deliberate would be, for example, Monday, hard day. Tuesday, easy day. Wednesday, hard day. Thursday, easy day. And that's super simplified, of course, but just doing it like that allowed me to have a much higher volume on the bike. Number 2, when you ride your bike, you need to eat and drink more than you think you should. My rule of thumb is about 60 to 90 grams of carbohydrates per hour. A lot of times people approach cycling as a good way to lose weight. Now, it can be a good way to lose weight, but the truth is you are burning a lot of energy when you're on a bike. And especially if you're going hard all the time, or if you're spending like 4 or 5 hours on the bike, burning that much calories, that's great. But if you don't supplement that with regular eating and hydration, that is not going to be good for you. You are going to get, as I mentioned, headaches, fatigue, the bonk, which is this really horrible feeling when you're on a ride and you can barely push the pedals. It sucks. It really does. Sometimes I forget to bring food even on a 1-hour ride. So when I get home, I eat right away. Number 3, during long distance rides, especially if you're doing like an audax, like a really long distance, like 200, 300, 400, maybe even a 600, there's gonna be a point in the ride where it's gonna suck. You're gonna feel like the ride sucks. You're gonna feel so bad. You're gonna feel so tired, and it's gonna be really hard. But you know what I found out? That feeling disappears. Acknowledge that it sucks, but get your mind off it. Try to think about something else, and sometimes it's replaced by an enjoyment of being in the moment. It helps if you eat a lot. Going back to the previous point. 4th thing, get a bike fit. Spending a lot of money on this thing where it feels like you didn't get anything. Literally, they're just moving parts around. But trust me, the bike fit is worth it, especially if it is your first bike, especially if you don't know much about bicycles. Getting that bike fit, feeling comfortable on the bike will allow you to bike even more. So at least you don't have to go through all these nagging pains like a weird shoulder or a weird leg, or you know. Number 5, if you get really serious about cycling, and sometimes you might be doing cycling every day, it might be a good idea to fit in some cross training, maybe a run here and there, maybe lifting some weights. Cycling does not do anything for your bone density, and I felt that the first time a year ago when I first played basketball and somebody hit me in the chest with an elbow, and then my chest hurt for weeks because I wasn't doing any other exercise other than cycling. So I assume that if you have good bone density, you're gonna age better, and that's important. So cross train. The 6th thing you should know about is proper bike maintenance. Learn how to lube your chain, how to change your tires, how to properly clean a bike. All of those things will make your bike last longer. One of the things that I want to learn is how to tune a derailleur. That would be good. Number 7, I feel like we underestimate mental toughness when it comes to cycling. especially if you decide to do long distances, or especially if you want to do a race. Mental toughness is huge. I found that if you unravel mentally, it can be a downward spiral from there. So there was a ride that we were doing, it was an Audax ride, and then I realized that I was looking at my bike computer and literally counting the kilometers as they go by. When in fact I was outside in a beautiful part in the Philippines, surrounded by nature, on a bike. There were trees, there was wind, the coast was to my right. It took me a while to realize that I should be enjoying that moment. But instead, I got caught up with just trying to finish the ride, and I just got mentally stuck on the number of kilometers that I still had to do. So try to not fall into that trap. So number 8 is that I think a lot of people undervalue cycling in a group. Now, I understand that cycling in a group can be difficult. Like for me, I ride my bike mostly by myself. Most of my rides are solo. But I have made an effort to find a good group to bike with, because there's just so many advantages when you have other people who share the same passion, in this case cycling, as you, and being able to share that passion with other people is honestly really fun. It really is fun. So when you get to find a group who you can share the ride with, find ways to cultivate that group, find ways to stay together, I just feel like it's worth it. Number 9, I found that training, like seriously training on the bike, is very difficult to do in a group. When you're doing intervals, for example, their intervals are probably different from yours. Their pace during those intervals are also really different. And if you're trying to do training as a group while on the bike, someone's always being left behind, someone's always going ahead, someone's always tired, and someone's always fresh. So it can be a bit difficult. Maybe you could be in a group if you were training, you're doing a pure zone 2 ride, like an endurance ride, and you know, you can just all go. But I always feel like their zone 2 might be my tempo, and if I needed to do zone 2, then I'm just overreaching, and in fact I'm just tiring myself out. Anyway, it gets a bit complicated, but I feel like if you're gonna train, you should just do it yourself. It's a lot easier. The 10th thing that cyclists should know about but probably don't is, I think there should be more emphasis on bike handling skills. Like what I like to do when I have an easy day, I'll choose a route where there's a bunch of off-road stuff, just so that I get to practice riding off-road. And if it's an easy day, like a zone 2 day, I can just do the off-road stuff. It won't be a perfect zone 2 day, but I'll get a lot of bike handling skills, and if I can go fast on the off-road stuff, that means it's a little bit of an advantage compared to the people who just don't have that much skill going off-road. And being able to have good handling skills just means that it's going to be safer for you as a rider, and it's going to be a lot more enjoyable as well, because you get to go fast, and fast is fun. Okay, so those are 10 things that I think cyclists should know about but probably don't. If you disagree with me, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know if there's something you thought about. Let me know as well. And subscribe. Oh, and one bonus thing, get a bike fender. It's worth it. It's like one of the best things.